Alright, what's what I was doing? The book is a part of him. He has no legs and takes no steps. It is his own self from which he reads. It is his own self that is incomplete. It is his own self that binds him in the vault of his own mind. You've been following me? In memory, cause follows effect. Cause follows effect. In rain, the colors run. A long run will suggest that Flesh has more to say, but nothing emerges. What more do you want from me? When the Flesh at last ends, mechanical voice seems creak. You did not accept your fall. When you are served the bitter root, will you eat? I don't know. What is the bitter root? Showing neither satisfaction nor dismay at your response. Why are you so interested in my choices? So replies, they are not yours. Do you have any more questions? Is this the bitter root again? When you stood in the place of shifting floors, which way did your shadow fall? I don't think he's going to like it, but I'm going to say beside me. A long rumble echoes from inside the Fleth's robes, changing at last to words. In the village of Thome it is written, the eremite Allegizer descended deep into darkness, for he could not bear to see his shadow. No. So what do you want? Yes, the single flat word lingers in the air until the first adds, what is the answer? Perhaps the thing wants you to answer your own question. You want to know if I'm drawing the sorrow to this place, you understand why I've done what I've done, you want to confound me, you want to know everything, you don't know what you want. The Philosopher accepts your answer silently, giving no clue as to what passes within its impervious robes, behind its impenetrable mask. At last the thing replies, the nose does not smell with words. Tell me about yourself. 5%. One of these days, like, I got the 20%, but, you know, in the last playthrough before I died, I wouldn't mind hitting one of these low ones again. Obviously, the chances aren't good. For a moment, the Philosopher's face darkens, then without inflection it answers, the cursed key hungers and it feeds with his denied satiation. Please tell me about yourself in a way I can understand. No. Well, fuck off then. Yeah, I bet it does. What say you, child? What are you gasping? Is that because you're scared of me? Do that again, but slow. I'm going to watch your... this is a magician. Performer, whatever. I warn you, this next illusion may frighten you. No, I don't think it will. Traveller? What say you? Now, clearly, the guy dead set said this one doesn't work, didn't he? Whatever. What else we got? I haven't spoken to Beliza. This thin, fidgeting Aeon priest shoots furtive, sidelong glances at the creature in the nearby cage while humming a nonchalant tune. When he sees that you're watching him, he flinches. Over the course of a few frantic breaths, shock becomes embarrassed anger, and he opens his mouth to shout at you. Yes, what is it? What is so goddamn fascinating about me that you feel the need to stare? What do you know about the creature over there? What? Beliza says, jumping, then he takes a breath and struggles to sound offhand. It's a Nycthemeron, a biomechanical creature, an information gatherer in fact. He seems to calm down as he warms to the topic. They're dangerous though. You can only speak to them at night. During daylight they'll attack without provocation. A living repository of knowledge, Callistege murmurs, watching the creature. I wonder what places it has seen, what it knows. Eyes narrow suspiciously. You seem nervous. I'm not, Beliza says, his eyes stealing to the caged creature again. I just don't like when people sneak up on me. Yeah, you're planning something, aren't you? Frowning your words, Beliza turns to regard you, then he notices your tattoo and his eyes go wide. I've heard of people like you, what are you doing? No, never mind, you just asked me. I mean, he trails off and seems to reach a decision. I'm working on something dangerous and it would be an honor if you could lend your assistance. Beliza glances around the plaza as if looking for spies and then beckons you to him. I have a device, he says in a hoarse whisper, that can probably be heard from meters away. If someone can get close enough to affix it to the creature's cage, it will activate and teleport the Nycthemeron to the Reef of Fallen Worlds. He snickers and rubs his hands together, and then you'll study it? In a manner of speaking. Biomechanical organisms fascinate me, and Nycthemerons doubly so. I've never gotten to examine one up close, so he lowers his voice. I want you to teleport the creature out of its cage, kill it, and bring me the memory organ. You want me to kill it for its brain? Isn't that murder? I mean, I probably shouldn't be fucking starting fights with things. Let's see what he says to that. Please, Beliza says, rolling his eyes so hard you're surprised you can't hear them squeaking their sockets. It's a machine, it's not alive. If it makes you feel better, tell yourself you're deactivating a faulty device that will defend itself with lethal force. No, he did say biomechanical, didn't he? Yes, what is this? That does sound a bit too easy. If it were that easy, I would do it, Beliza says, but the creature's captors protect its cage, and, well, they've already caught me once, but they won't be watching for you. Beliza rubs the back of his hand across his mouth. Tell them you wish to see the beast and plant the device when they're not watching, and if you get caught, don't tell them I sent you. He lowers his voice to a horrified whisper. They said they'd lodge a complaint with the order. Yes, how does it work? I'm not sure, Beliza admits, mouth twisting. My former colleague found it within the rusted casing of a war machine. I say former because when he activated it, he disappeared. With Jesus, he found his remains spread across the reef as if he was hurled at the ground with great force. He looks briefly nauseous at the memory. Now you might be thinking the Nycthemeron will perish in the same manner, and it might, but I wouldn't count on it. The creature can float. Asked to see the Nycthemeron and plant the device when they're not looking. Again, if they catch you, I was not involved. You know what? I'm curious. Let's fucking do it. And nurseling his lips, be very, very careful. I don't have another one. I'm not doing it right now.
On it.
Everything. You inch closer to the lattice of energy that holds the creature, and as you lean in, the ugly glade with a sledgehammer slung over his shoulder shouts at you. Oi, no gawking for free. Pay El Ginto or get gone. He glowers at you, hand reaching for the haft of his hammer until you step away from the cage. Who are these fuckheads? This large, broad-shouldered man turns to face you. You freeze. It's not his dark cloak or his sledgehammer. It's that beneath his moustache and goatee he's so ugly that he'd scare his own mother in a dark alley. Gives you an abrupt nod, and you get the distinct impression that here stands a man who enjoys the boredom of standing guard in the company of his own thoughts. Nothing to say. Oh my god, how much talking do I have to do to this guy? Nothing to see here until you pay El Ginto, he says, when it's clear that you aren't moving on. With that, he returns his gaze to the distant sea. Huh. Well, I'm not going to dob him in. This guy's a fuckhead anyway. If he wants to force me to pay just to look at it. Yeah, what is that thing in the cage? Nycthemeron, he says. El Ginto will tell you about it if that's what you want. How did you get it? Long story, Kenadu draws, then falls into silence. Apparently that wasn't an introduction, but an excuse. So you stare and ask, El Ginto, he's a talker, I watch the beast. Is El Ginto the fuckhead next to him? Okay, yes it is. Oh, I'm glad this guy doesn't like talking much. You never know. We don't know like that. We aren't from around here. May as well ask that. Giving the distinct impression that you are making him work harder than you'd like. Lauric, a city in the beyond, packed with blood-mad priests, giant razor cats, and drit, lots of drit. His weighted gaze seeks the horizon. I don't miss it, but El Jinto does. If you want stories, he's the one to ask. Yeah, nah, fuck it. He doesn't want to talk. Alright, El Jinto. He's a weary traveller whose grim visage is almost obscured by a pointy hat. Upon closer inspection, the lines in his face indicate he has seen much and has many tales to tell. Hello there, friend, he says. Here to see the Nick Themeron, my friend in the cage over there, or are you just looking to spend a word or two? Yeah, I have some questions about it. He's far from mine, friend, El Jinto says with a raspy chuckle, as you'll likely see if I get too close to his cage. He tips his hat at you. Go on, ask your questions. Alright, what is it? A biomechanical unit of stubborn curiosity and frothing malice, he says. Who made them, no one can say, but they cannot be trusted or befriended. Cross their paths or thwart their incomprehensible whims, and they'll kill you if they can. Wait, you called the creature a he. Is it male? Could be female or genderless or many-gendered. Who can say? I have our friend in prison and I feel better about that fact if I don't call him it. Yes, how did you capture it? With a highly experimental trap of my own design, some luck and the unexpected falling of night. Yes, it's a good question. We're likely to release it and run as if every kind of demon in the world is after us. We're not trappers, see, we're explorers, and we're only in this to save up some coin for a journey across a long patch of ground. He rubs the back of his neck. Not that our motives make much difference to our guest. He'll want to boil our skins once we let him go, and I can't say I blame him. Well, now I don't... Since he's so dangerous, I'm not going to feel so bad about killing him. So I will do what old mate asks, but... you know... I've only just started this game. Probably might need to get a bit stronger, but we'll see what happens. I'm not doing it anytime soon, like between now and when I save it, that's for sure. Yeah, what other questions did I have? Is this going to be a long one? Former and future home. Kenadu and I were born in the grey outskirts of the city. I'd like to say we were childhood friends, but we weren't. We simply came to know each other through what we lost. Takes a breath. The priests of the million gods of Lauric wandered the streets seeking sacrifices, you see, and opposing them is a sin. In our first 10 years, they claimed our parents and our friends, and then one day a pockmarked priest came for me. He hauled me up the glass-paved streets. I wept and screamed, but the faithful and the fearful turned away. I'd almost lost hope when I heard the hammer scraping on the glass. Up charged Kenadu, bearing his father's sledgehammer. With a shout, he dashed the priest's brains from his skull, and we ran. He shuts his eyes, smiling, and we've been running ever since, but we will return one day, I think, armed for the occasion. Years of struggle, he says, is his expression darkening, years without measure. After Lauric, we lived from meal to meal, eating only what we could steal. Kenadu grew into his strength, and I grew, but less obviously. I began studying, you see. I read ancient texts from about my lost home and the sickness that possesses it to this day. I thought about how I could cure it, he says, clenching his fist. So we began exploring ruins. We sold the broken relics we found for food and equipment, kept the interesting ones for future study. To tell you of all the adventures we had in those days would take almost as many years as I've been alive, if not more. If that doesn't make sense to you, then you have not travelled far into the depths of the beyond. Some of the ruins there lie outside time, and we saw. He swallows and reclaims the thread of his thoughts. We searched countless places for the components I needed for my trap. Yes, the one our guest is contained in, and we headed east into the Clock of Kala. Yep, what is it? Just tell me everything. A ring of mountains between here and the beyond, he says, a land of glorious and lethal wonders. He sighs happily. I'm looking forward to going through it again. We easily spent a decade searching the base of the peaks for the final parts of the trap, he said. At last we heard a rumour. A horde of ghosts occasionally stampeded through the lands of Algur Kala, bearing relics and smearing reality in their wake. This last detail is what interested me, he says, raising a finger. I created a device, a bell of sorts, that would attract the ghost's attention, and when they came, there stood Xanadu, hammer ready. The bell drew them, you see, but it also made them more real. Xanadu waded into the ghost, striking them down. The rest fled, but we had found the materials I needed for the trap I'll use to capture a god. A wide smile spreads over his face. Beneath Lauric lies a mad being who demands the sacrifice of mothers, fathers and children. Once we free our guest here, we will return home with this trap. We'll use it to kidnap a god or die trying. Jeez. Thank you for taking an interest in an old man's stories, he says. I'd like to return the favour. Normally we charge quite a bit for visits to the Nycthemeron's cage. You, my friend, can see it for free. Not right now, but I'll come back and take you up on that offer. He gives Xanadu a complicated whistle. The big man raises his eyebrows, rolls his eyes and nods. Well, not right now, thank you. It must be in desperate shape if you're patrolling the circus, talking to strangers, says. Do you have a piece of the device? Might be that I can offer my opinion. Perception, the man's face carries the impenetrable nonchalance of a lifelong gambler, but even so you spot a hint of curiosity, hunger even, deep in his glittering eyes. Well, I'll show him the shard of crystal, I don't give a fuck. He accepts the crystal shard with great care, tearing it over and over in his cracked hands. In the silence you catch a hint of wood smoke and notice that his eyes have turned slate grey. Living crystal, he mutters at last, seeking a greater whole, still warm, maybe alive, maybe thinking. He hands the shard back to you with a touch of regret. Interesting piece of tech, but not one I know much about. Sorry friend, try asking around some more. Oh, I will. The option to look at the bloody Nycthemeron is gone. Unless I need to ask questions about it, and then it was in that chain of questioning. It's hard to keep up with all this. But yes. How many people do I have to talk to here? Tibere. Pacing the edge of the crowd is a paunchy old soldier with a swaggering stride. At the moment, however, his jauntiness seems overshadowed by worry, and he alternates between watching the execution and searching the crowd as if looking for a miracle, and his eyes light on you. I say, you look like someone who believes in justice.
Believes in justice.
Ah.
How'd you like to help a poor soul wrongfully condemned?
Oh, I'm just glad you're speaking for me. Keep it up. Oh, god damn it. I don't need anything but my friend there on the platform is dying. The nightmares his executioners have induced in him spill from him with every word he speaks and wrap around him like a snake. He glances at the execution. I know there are but a few strands around him now, but in a few days' time they'll choke the life out of him. I cannot imagine a more horrible way to die. He pauses. Well, that's not true. I have an imagination that would shame a sailor. He leans in. You'll need to be swift and willing to hold justice above law. But there is a way to save him if you will hear me out. Yes, thank you. I was just finishing the line that I was reading. I've been delivered a smoothie. How good is life? What? Life or the smoothie?
Smoothie for a smooth face, eh?
You better believe it. Alright. You'll need to be swift and willing to hold justice above law, but there's a way to save if you will hear me out. To accuse or not accuse? Nah, I'll keep the peace. Why are you helping Riss? I don't know. Sounds like they're friends. Fucking why wouldn't he be? I want to talk to your friend. Maybe I'll talk to him after I've saved him. Oh, God, how much trouble is this going to get me in? Alright, I've finished my smoothie. It would be nothing for someone of your noble demeanour to masquerade as a city official and ask the council clerk for an archived copy of an old stay of execution. Once you have it, I'll write out a fresh one and add Riss's name. Then we'll present it to the overseer here, and poor Riss will be set free. Spreads his hands. There you have it, a foolproof, risk-free plan. I mean, I don't know if it's foolproof. I don't know if it sounds risky. Like, I'll do it. Alright, Government Square, of course, podium outside the council tower. I can't think of a time he wasn't there. Yeah, fuck it, I'll help. Then you'll need a proper story and a badge of office. Fortunately, I have the first, and you can buy the second from Sangolin, the clothing merchant in Government Square. You know what? I'm actually going to write that down. Buy badge of office from Sangolin in Gov Square. So, part of my thing when I play video games is I don't fold his arms. Once you have a badge of office, you will tell the council clerk you are from the Judicial Oversight Committee looking into corruption and the commutation of capital sentences. The stay you're asking for is that of a notorious gangster named Cole Carden, who was mysteriously set free a few years ago. When you get Cole's stay of execution, I'll make a copy with Riss's name on it, and you can give it to the overseer who will free him. You see, simple. He rubs his hands together. Now, if you'll let me join you, I'd be happy to show you around the city and help you with all this and whatever else you have going. Fucking oath! It will be my pleasure, but let's hurry. There's not a moment to lose. Riss hasn't much time.
Making a note.
Alright. Alright, well, I'm going to talk to everyone else who's at this square here. You don't deserve to live in Sager's Cliffs. This man stares at the executioner. Horror, he cannot look away. No crime deserves such a punishment. How can this be allowed? Why is everybody watching this? They're animals. They find pleasure in cruelty. Whatever. Intrigued woman. Am I going to have conversations with all of them? Oh, jeez. One listens intently to the ravings of the man on the nearby desk, hanging on every word, gives you a hesitant smile. Can you understand it? I don't know, he's speaking great wisdom. If only I could decipher it. Why is everyone watching this? Most are only thrill seekers are the morbidly curious. For most of us gather to hear the words of the condemned, they are said to contain the most sublime truths. They are born from dreams of death. We listen and try to understand their meaning. An execution. In a trance, and he speaks of the wondrous things he sees. His words become tendrils of corrupted flesh, which are wrapped around his body until they crush him to death, and the devourer of wrongs eats him. Well, that's fucking bizarre. What do you got to say, spectator? If you ask me, the victim speaking nonsense, delusions. The deep shall echo with our song. Yeah, whatever. Unmoved woman. Oh god, I'm gonna have conversations with everyone. One standing in the back of the crowd, arms crossed, eyes cool. She watches the slow exertion on the others. She doesn't watching the people in the crowd. Depressing. Why is everyone watching this? She sighs at what passes for entertainment in this town. People like to watch other people suffer. It takes their minds off their own suffering, I guess. That's not why I'm here though. I got sucked in. Right. Mate, you are way too excited. What's going on here? Man watches the execution with fevered eyes, shakes his fist. Traitor to the city. As you approach him, he gives you a savage grin. Nothing better than seeing the traitor die. Why is everybody watching this? To see justice done, and thumps his chest. If somebody hurts my city, I want to see them hurt twice as bad. And getting crushed to death by your own words is as bad as it gets. Spectator. What do you got to say? Hideous sight, and yet I cannot look away. Spectator. Trying to listen. The man is large and broad-shouldered. His steel armor is painted in the silver and indigo colours of Saga's Cliffs. He seems to be an ordinary soldier or a constable of the city, too ordinary perhaps. As you scan his face, you see that his features are plain, forgettable, almost generic. Not only that, his eyes are a little too large, his smile too firmly fixed upon his face. What, is he a construct or something? Soldier smile never leaves his face. He must be a stranger to the city, perhaps from one of the autochthonous tribes along the frontier. Allow me to welcome you to Saga's Cliffs, visitor. He speaks the final word like a title, almost an honorific. I am a levy, you may rely upon me, and others like me for protection and assistance, at the discretion of the council and the slave families. I love how you can dob people in. I'm not going to, but fuck, this game is truly bizarre. I'd like to go up on the platform. Yeah, what does that mean? Every citizen is required to raise a levy for the protection of the city. In times of war or strife, citizens are sometimes called upon to raise additional levies, but this has not been required since a dread destroyer crossed the northern frontier 34 years ago. What's this? Yes, a year of life is taken from a citizen. The lost year is used to create a levy. He pauses ever so briefly, though his smile remains fixed in place. That is why our lifespans are precisely 1 year long. When our spans are up, we degrade into our component matter. If you are curious about the process, I have been instructed to direct you to the Order of the Truth, where you may observe the machine that is our parent. My God, these Order of the Truth, they can tell me about everything. Oh, no, I don't really care about that, to be honest. I don't really care about examining him. Yeah, who are they? Indeed so. Each slave family sends one representative, usually the head of the family, to sit on the council. We are required to follow their commands. So you really serve the council, not the people of the city. Yes, that is correct. Well, at least he's honest. Maybe I will examine him. If you saw the face of this man on the streets of a city, you wouldn't glance at him twice. His features are utterly ordinary and forgettable, not too ugly, not too handsome. It is indeed almost like he is an average of many thousands of men, their idiosyncrasies and imperfections merged into a bland middle ground. The exceptions, of course, are the eyes, which are just a bit too large for the face, and the fixed, ever-present smile. Taken together, the man's features give you a vague sense of unease. Perception. But wait, you do notice something unusual. Pinned to this levy's helmet is a tiny green branch with minuscule leaves. You might have assumed it was a twig that was blown there by the wind, but your sharp eyes catch a bit of twine that fastens it to the levy's helm. Do I ask about that? Oh, yeah. What the fuck? Why did that just make my picture flash? His eyes flick up, then back to you. It is a reminder of the year that gave me my life. It belonged to an old woman. He runs a hand over the twig. A little tree, the old woman's favourite little tree that she raised from a seed. No, would have raised. She wanted to become a citizen, but she had only 1 year left to give. The little tree was never born. At the same moment, both you and the levy seem to notice that his smile is gone and it instantly returns to his lips. Right. Now, I've got a question. This guy back here who wanted me to find a little girl or whatever, where... Didn't he say she was down in the underbelly? Because I was just there and I didn't find her. Oh, jeez. Fair enough. Alright, so I'm basically just gonna have to stumble upon this little girl. I'm sure he said she was in the underbelly, but I am trying to remember this from a couple of days ago. Well, I want to go talk to a couple of other levies. Is he the only levy that I can talk to in such detail? Oh, another long-ass conversation. This armored levy is almost a mirror image of his comrade who stands on the other side of the execution platform. You sense that something about them is subtly different, but at first glance you can't quite determine what it is. He nods and greets you in a remarkably similar voice. Hello, visitor. The face of this levy is nearly identical to his comrade on the other side of the execution platform. If they're different, the variations are extremely subtle and random. A slight difference in the shape of the ears, perhaps, or a barely discernible quirk with the lips when he smiles, as he does constantly. Otherwise, the two men could be twins. Actually, they are even less distinguishable than twins. Perception. What other detail catches your attention? Almost hidden by the levy's armour is a tiny fetish or charm. A roughly fashioned representation of an archway or a window made from bits of metal, wood and glass. Tell me what that's about. For the briefest moment, the levy's smile nearly falters. That is my year. The year that was taken from a citizen to create me. It reminds me of the front window through which he saw, would have seen, the pretty girl who sells the false birds. Would have been, a good year. Why do you all look the same? This is how we emerge from the machine, but we aren't truly the same. Citizens can always recognize the levies they raise, and some can tell us apart by looking closely. So, can I not just run up there myself? Are they going to stop me or something? Oh, hang on. I can talk to the overseer. Hell yeah. What do you got to say, Yeen? Stout middle-aged man stands atop the execution platform. He wears the badge of a city official, and a fringe of dreadlocks hangs down to his shoulders from his otherwise bald pate. He gives you a disinterested look as you approach. Please stay back with the others. Who are you? He bows slightly. I am Yeen, overseer of capital punishment, charged by the council with organising public executions and making sure they run smoothly. I want to talk to him. Impossible. Impossible. No one speaks to the condemned. It is against the rules. I ain't fucking paying shins. I'm not lying. I'm just going to get out of here. What happens if I ask these guys about going up? Impossible. I'm privileged to inform you that you cannot. The levy managed to make it sound like a piece of excellent news. If you wish to discuss the matter further, please direct your inquiry to the official in charge. He points to the indigo-clad man on the projecting edge of the dais. Alright, fucking how's the time going? I've been about half an hour since I clipped. So I can't properly talk to this levy, can I? Oh, may as well talk to all these fuckheads. Get this over and done with. You've come to the right place of all your size cults. Ours first and greatest. Hopefully none of them have... We have knowledge of all your brethren cast off, that is, all but a few. Oh, thank God they don't all want massive long-ass conversations. You speak to Casmine and Mimian Vessel. You're the first among your size faithful. Yeah, I'll talk to them very soon. Come to the right place. Oh, I just spoke to you. And who's this? A tattoo? Yep, nah, fuck off. Will you let me touch you? You fucking weirded me out. I'd rather you didn't. Studied Messiah's life since I was a youth. All my wisdom I owe to them. And what's this in the middle then?
Let's go.
Ah, well, I'll leave it alone then. Don't really have much choice, do I? I gave all my fortune to the faith, every shit of my family's wealth. You're a fucking idiot. I was an outcast, hideous and shunned before I found your size cult. I'm not liking the sound of this cult. Fuck right off. As you approach the duo, you see they are arguing heatedly but quietly. The petite woman turns towards you. Her hair is unusual, a light or almost yellow colour, and her bright eyes dominate her pretty face. Excuse me, sir, my friend and I were having a discussion, and her eyes fall upon your tattoo, and her breath catches audibly in her throat. Her partner is an unnaturally tall man. Well, he is, now that I actually look at him. Gaunt and sour-faced, his voice sonorous, with fingers that twitch and weave through strange contortions. Occasional light sparks in the air as he does. He turns to you and opens his mouth to speak, registers your tattoo and closes it again. His throat bobs for a moment and he says, "It is an honour." She sighs. Must we indulge in this religious nonsense? Look, I want to hear what they have to say at least. And then tell them to fuck off. Your opinion of our beliefs is noted. We have discussed our differences with you, and you made your position quite clear. Thank you. He turns back. He turns back to you, I think. Anger etched on his face. What, do I have to ditch her before you'll speak to me? He collects himself. If I might impose on your time for a moment, will you tell me about your tattoo? How did you shape it? Do you know why it differs from the others? I don't know much about my tattoo. What does it mean to you? Others? You mean other cast-offs? What do you mean shape it? Don't tattoos stay the same? Yes, do you mean other cast-offs? Yes, revered one, your siblings. He bows deeply and his fingers spark with a repressed joy. You're a child of the changing God. His mind saw the world through your eyes. He gained knowledge in your body, as he has done countless times over the centuries. The tattoo on your head marks you. We theorize it has a role to play in his creation of you, his cast-off shells. You are welcome here, revered one. We stand ready to serve as we can. Have you any questions for us? Tell me about the city, first and foremost. City is just the city your sire built and defended, the cradle of civilization, the center of the empire of knowledge. His eyebrows rise and his slow tone is effusive. It is among the great works of humanity in the ninth world, built on the foundations laid by unknown creators. It has risen to become one of the preeminent cities on Garavia Sound. He pauses. It is somewhat diminished in these latter years, to be sure. Perhaps if the changing God would have returned to lead us to joy. Yeah, what do you know about the sorrow? Let's see if you actually know your shit. She shudders and touches herself ritualistically on the forehead and on her lips. A monster of deepest nightmare. I've heard that it wants you dead. Every one of the Holy One's creations all dead, but I don't know why, but it hates you. He bows. You are a cast-off of the changing God, our inspiration, the man who has cheated death for centuries so that he might accumulate wisdom. He wears bodies like clothes and abandons them when he has exhausted his studies in them, yet when he leaves, a spark of consciousness remains. Your consciousness, revered one. Is that how you say that? Revered? Revered. I think it's revered. Yes, what can you tell me about my sire? You mean the most accomplished inventor of our time, the hero of Sagas Cliffs, the man who dodged death itself, the Time Weaver, the man who destroyed the Tabat? Oh, we have so much to say, she catches herself, but perhaps we should wait for another time. Or don't. Yeah, what do you know about that? Rumour and conjecture, nothing more, idle speculation from those who wish to pretend to knowledge of your sire's motivations passed along as fact. He leans out to touch you. Have you seen it? Do you know where it is? What it does? Yeah, that's all I need to know. So you have seen it, you have touched it. She catches herself, she seems almost overwhelmed. Your tattoo, like all the others, but this one is different. He looks sharply at you now, all distraction gone. I do not recognize you, he says. You do not match any descriptions we have recorded. Well, she snaps her fingers as if she is finally figuring out a mystery. Wait, let me remember your face. She studied you carefully. Oh my, you're new. Are you the changing God? Can it be? She reaches out to touch your sleeve and pulls her hand back quickly. I don't think I was the changing God, was I? Oh, I can't fucking remember. There was so much reading to do in that first part that I played. But I'm just going to say no anyway. He nods, satisfied. As I thought, you're a cast-off, one of his children. He touches you with his long-fingered hand as if in consolation. There is no shame in such a thing. Many cast-offs have come to our attention. Some of them have sought to deceive us, so that they may seem more important. He smiles softly. If you are as new as we suspect, it is better for us to know the truth of your existence than to bluster and lie. Crestfallen, she touches your shoulder. Are you sure you're not? She catches herself. No, why would you lie about that? With a noticeable effort, she wrenches herself into optimism and she chirps. But you're new, aren't you? You're new. Have you decided what you'll do, what you'll be? Your sire's other children have done amazing things. Amazing, and no doubt you will as well. Yeah, he lays a hand on her shoulder and his voice is low, cautionary. Cass, she looks away from you for a moment, swallowing sudden tears, and he says, we have a request for you. He gestures toward the clock behind him. Dark figures circumambulate these clock faces. I theorize that your sire's creation of the time shields that protected the city established a connection with his future selves. Given this, we believe those figures may be cast-offs or ghosts of cast-offs perhaps, the living shells of the bodies your creator has worn previously. His fingers shrug eloquently for him. The clock is unmoored in time, you see. We do not have a knowledge sufficient to investigate, but you might. You have a connection with he who created the clock. You should be able to align it with the present time and uncover who these figures are. A gentle, rare smile appears. If you cannot, at least you will increase our store of knowledge. She smiles bravely, looking between Mimian and you, and says, and then we can answer the questions you must have, right, Mim? Yeah, do you? We have tried, I have appealed to the order of truth. Oh, I thought you guys hate each other. I have spoken with eminent seekers of knowledge. We have sent for wisdom from as far as the steadfast a great achievement, you must agree. None have given us an answer. We believe your sire created the device or had a hand in it. Perhaps dismay dances across his fingers. His hungry-eyed compatriot steps in. Perhaps you can find an answer where others have failed, and then we can help you. She turns away. You will have our boundless gratitude, revered one. Hang on, I had more questions. I really hate it when this game does that. I didn't even say if I would help. We struck a bargain, revered one. We would be poor in spirit indeed if we did not honour our promises. Yet I see the clock remains unfixed and you bring us no new knowledge of its workings. He bows regretfully. I had more questions, fuckface. Alright, whatever.
Alright.
Oh, jeez. This complex machine towers over you. Its purpose is unclear, but the three circular faces set into the ground remind you of clocks. Something is wrong with the machine, however, it's partially transparent, shimmering in the air when you look directly at it. The clock faces seem to show several different times at once. Humanoid silhouettes ripple beneath the central clock face. One places his hand against the face as though a glass wall. They seem to be watching you. I'm going to examine. I'm not going to touch it right now. The towering mechanism wavers in the air. Similar to Calistige, it appears to be in several states at once, though all of the machine states are in the exact same location. You can't touch it either. Your hand passes right through the structure. Well, I wasn't supposed to try and touch it. As you pull your hand away, a memory strikes you as powerfully as if someone took a club to your chest. You are working at the clock. It is no longer transparent but perfectly solid. There is noise behind you, so they've come. The three traders. They think to surprise you, but through the powers of the clock you have foreseen this moment. There is the faintest sound of metal sliding against leather. You slap a hand on the central clock face, activating the clock's arcane powers. You're not sure what it will do to them, but it's better than what they'll do to you. There is a flash. Arcs of energy stretch out from the clock over your shoulders to your would-be attackers. You don't see what happens to them, but they quickly disappear along with their screams. As the last shreds of the memory fade, a swirl of energy passes through your body. Cold barbs prick every muscle. Suddenly, tidal forces arc from the clock to three ancient devices in the cultist encampment. The clock recognizes something inside you, or maybe vice versa. Either way, you have inadvertently activated the nearby devices. Ooh. Interesting. How good is this? Now we're getting somewhere. Is there any other parts that I can look at, or just that central part? Do these fuckheads have anything new to say about this latest revelation? No, they don't. Well, fuck off.
Alright.
The complex machine shimmers in the air when you look directly at it. The clock faces seem to show several different times at once. Shadowy silhouettes watch you from beneath the central clock face. Alright, I'm not reaching for anything. I've learnt from this game to not reach for shit. This guy had nothing more to say to me, didn't he? I had to retry something, didn't I? Oh no. I had to get a new ability or fucking some shit. Yeah, what's this about? The Philethus' face whirls with vortices of energy and a great branding of gears resounds from its hidden form. This struggle completed, its face goes blank once more and it speaks. Another merchant wanders the beyond, laden with silks and ciphers and shims, without a drop to drink. He bears a water clock, but dares not break it. It is his time. Law natural. Like, what does that even mean when it says that sort of stuff? You know little of Navarene beyond the proverbial wealth of its merchants, but regardless, the Philethus comes from some place far more distant than the Steadfast. Yeah, you got anything more, mate? Nod slightly. It shall call out the hour with the tolling of a great bell, or shall prosper, the threads shall merge. I'll catch you later. Alright, what happens when I examine these now? As you approach this device, surface matter changes around you, people address differently and speak differently, whole new structures appear, including an enormous building rising from the edge of the square. Walk down the device, see images clear across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Well, which one to do first? I'll look at the changes around me first. Circus Minor looks almost completely different. All the people are dressed strangely, and though they speak the truth, they use many terms and phrases that you don't understand. The square has changed as well. All the tents are gone. The buildings are more colourful and less weathered. One building in particular rises from the edge of the square. A tower of purple rock, some 50 stories high. And is that the one? I think that's the one that... What's her name? Callus Jean? I can't remember. Callistege said it was destroyed 1,000 years ago. I assume that's what that is. One building in particular rises from the edge of the square. Tower of purple rock, some 50 stories high. A mural is painted on the side, though you can't see the details from here. So you focus on them, you feel a warmth from your head where your pad is. The images respond to your thoughts, slowing and changing at your whim. It's something about your body that allows you to do this, which perhaps means that only you can even see the images. You immediately recognize the pictures as pieces of memory, specifically the 3 memories you saw back in the fathoms of your mind. Ooh. Underwater City, Lush Valley, City Under Siege. I'm going to go the Lush Valley. Somehow you know the memories from a long time ago, centuries ago, probably a man and a woman, both with tattoos like your own, are surveying a lush, secluded valley for some purpose you cannot recall. As you review the memory, you get a strange feeling in your mind that you can only describe as a query. The device wants something from you. Suddenly you remember, the memories in the device are possibilities, but you can lock one of the memories here, so it is the only one that displays. You don't remember what purpose that served, though. Yeah, I'm gonna come back before I fucking do that sort of shit. I'll come back to that. Devourer of wrongs. Hello, you got something to say? Why am I not talking to him? You don't want to talk? Devourer of wrongs? Alright, so clearly you can only interact with them if you're up on the stage. Alright, so first things first. Oh, you know what? I'm tempted to try this thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Jesus Christ, I thought that thing was going to attack me. Almost had a heart attack.
Yes. Now.
The cage in which the creature floats is a simple frame that contains a shimmering, nearly transparent cylinder of... Okay, so I get it now. I don't have to talk to them again to go closer. This is me going closer, so it's going to ask me if I want to put the bloody teleporter thing on, which I'm not going to do right now, that's for sure. The cage in which the creature floats is a simple frame that contains a shimmering, nearly transparent cylinder of energy. It emits a low hum, barely audible. It sets your teeth on edge. The container is a delicate filigree of ornate materials with no apparent controls, but surely they must be hidden somewhere in the traceries and protrusions of the wirework. You approach the cage cautiously. The monster within looks like a bundle blob mated with a muscular ichthyoid. Its multiple tentacles terminate in syringes, needles and injectors. This mass sits atop and is integrated with a floating orb of some type. It seems to be both mechanical and biological, with one system flowing smoothly into the next, a creation from some mad nightmare. The energy field darkens protectively and automatically as the creature throws itself at its walls, thrashing and striking mindlessly with its needle-tipped tentacles. The darkening is almost a strobe-like effect. Even as you watch, one of its tentacles coils back and blasts furious plasma at the walls of its cage. The cage holds, but the shields dim to prevent any radiation from the blast from escaping. Oh, is that going to be a chance one? Luckily, I was literally going to save it, and this is going to be the very first thing that I did. I wonder how low of a percentage it is. Honestly, if I have to, I might just... Oh, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I kind of want to play this in a way that I don't reload and retry things. You know, if it fucking fails, it fails. The cage appears to be made of a mixture of synth, spun, strong glass, and a... How's the time looking? 10 minutes. Before cooking time. Synth, spun, strong glass, and a lightweight metal intricately embroidered to create mind-warping patterns, evocative and strange, energy shifts and flickers among the crevices, somehow being shaped by the form of the materials. Your closer examination reveals a small panel worked cunningly into the frame of the cage. Some of the filigrees here are worn and smooth, as if slowly eroded by friction. Perhaps these are the controls. No, I'm not fucking touching any controls. Imagine... So I wonder if you can actually set it free right here. No, I'm not going to touch anything. Jesus. Do I look like a madman? I will try talking to it, though. If anything, the creature redoubles its efforts to strike at you, its limbs a flurry of rage. Draws away from the edge of the enemy field for a moment as if gathering its thoughts, and then it launches itself at you. Regathering of the perceptive solidity of the cage, its tentacles flail wildly, the needles at their tips glinting and oozing. Well, I don't expect it to answer, but... A dim light builds underneath the Mythomeron. The orb at its base glowing brighter and brighter. Two tentacles stroke it and they pour out a stream of bright lightning. They stretch it between themselves, building in intensity, and then they hurl it at you. The walls of the cage darken instantly, and when they lighten again, you see the monster within flailing and crashing fruitlessly against its invisible walls. The creature redoubles its efforts to strike at you, its limbs a flurry of rage. Alright, I'm going to leave it alone for now. Yeah, so what's with these three things? Do I have to lock one in for each? And if I do, does it matter which is which? As you approach this device, circus minor is thrown into chaos, buildings are on fire, people are screaming and running for their lives. Yeah. While armoured soldiers hunt them. None of them seem to pay any attention to you, though it's some kind of vision, not reality. You glance down at the device, a series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Okay, so obviously that's the city under siege. I can't even remember what the last one said. Somehow you know this memory is ancient. It might have occurred 1,000 years ago. A man and a young girl race through the streets of Saga's cliffs. All around them, the city is attacked by terrible people. The Tabat, you recall. The man takes them to an ancient machine somewhere in the city, then he and the girl disappear. Circus miners under attack. Squads of armored soldiers roam the streets, hunting and killing anyone they find. Mobs of people flee in terror, with only a few hapless souls trying and failing to fight them off. The soldiers are completely encased in jagged metal armor. You can't even tell if they're human. Looking beyond the carnage, the square in this vision looks wildly different. Many of the buildings that are on fire don't exist at all when you step away from the device, having been replaced by the other structures. So, I'm gonna leave it alone and see if it mentions fucking that the city being under siege. Terrible vision of an enemy attack overlays reality again. People scream and run for their lives, hunted down by armored soldiers. Series of memories flit across the surface of the device. So surely that means I need to lock in the besieged city. Oh. Oh jeez, I thought I actually accidentally fucking... Yeah, alright, so I'll leave that one alone. So I don't remember... So what did this other one say? I don't really recall it saying anything. Anyway, I've got about 4 or 5 minutes before I've got to clip it. And I'll save it. Make sure I save it in time. Circus minor changes again. People are dressed differently and speak differently. Whole new structures appear, including enormous building right at the edge of the square. Alright, I remember that. Well, now I'm just confused. I'll leave that alone. I'll see what the middle one's got to say. What have I got? Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes. Alright, strange feeling comes over you as you approach this device, as if someone were sneaking up on you in the corner of your eye. When you look, there's no one there. It feels like something is different though, but you can't put your finger on what. A series of images flit across the surface of the device itself that don't appear related to the changes around you. You see faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Let's look at the changes around me. Changes are difficult to notice first, but after a moment you figure it out. Circus Minor is the same, but the crowd is different. Most of the people in the stores and buildings are not the same as those you've seen around the square. Those few you do recognise are younger by several years. I don't think... I may as well look at the fucking underwater city. The memory is recent. Two men, both with tattoos like your own, are in an underwater city searching for something. The denizens of the city chase them from their quarry and ultimately surround and capture them. Or if it's recent, and this one's showing recent around, then it must be... I'm not going to do any locking now. I'll do that after I load. Even though, yeah, I'm not going to like sort of try and reload in case I fuck something up. But where's my little notes section? I'm going to go right, city under siege. Middle, recent memory, which is the underwater city. Left, yeah, the Lush Valley, which I think it did say was an older memory. I assume something good happens if you lock the right ones in. But yeah, I'm just gonna save that for another time. That's probably about time. Actually, I think next time I load, I am gonna see if I can unleash this thing right here, just for shits and giggles. But then I'll reload. Alright, I'm saving it. Let's do it. Good sesh. Oh, actually, hang on. Can I talk to old mate?
Thanks for taking me on, lad. Always good to have a friend watching your back, huh? Now, what can I do for you?
Okay, since it's usually... Yeah, I'm gonna super quick. How are you holding up? Everybody says his face friendly mask. Don't you worry, I'm with you to the end. Alright, good. I'm going to do the rest next time. Alright, let's save. Now, I'm going to do this just in case... Actually, hang on. I'm going to go on to the next screen just in case like something goes wrong with that save. You know, you never know. At least I'll have an auto save to fall back on. But yeah, I think I will just clip it there because this takes so frickin' long.